Hello guys, hope that you're all doing well. Within today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a quarterly theory concept founded by Trader Day. The concept we're taking a look at today is hidden sequential SMT, HSSMT. This is a concept that I'm sure you've never heard of before, and until you've watched this video, you will never be able to spot this within price. So without wasting any more time, let's jump straight into it. So first of all, you need to understand that this is a quarterly theory divergence. So we must be comparing closely correlated assets, the triads which are listed above, and also when looking for this concept, we must see it occur between two consecutive quarters. There are of course many more triads and many more cycles, but if you would like to know more information about that, check out my Sequential SMT video, which is already on my channel. So now that we understand that we need to be looking at closely correlated assets and also between two consecutive quarters, we can now dive into the concept itself. So first of all, if we take a look at this example of two assets right here, you can see to the naked eye, we can't spot any divergence, right? No asset ran below that previous swing low to the left. However, if we just remove the wicks out of the equation, you can see that we do in fact have a divergence right there. So that essentially is all that hidden sequential SMT is. It's just a divergence between two consecutive quarters using only the bodies. So when looking for a bullish divergence, we must pay attention to the lowest closure of the previous quarter. And when looking for a bearish divergence, we must pay attention to the highest closure of the previous quarter. So there are two variants to this concept, and we'll dive into the first variant now, which is the one that I had just shown you, where you can see that no asset runs below the previous quarter's lowest wick. However, if we just look at those closures only, you can see that the asset to the right actually did close below Q1's lowest closure during Q2, and the asset to the left failed to close below Q1's lowest closure. After this occurs, you can then begin to look for your entry model. In this case, we just use a simple change in the state of delivery, a candle closure above the candle that caused the hidden sequential SMT, and then you can see that price began to quickly run away and target the opposing liquidity. And there is actually one more variant to this concept, which is variant number 2, and as you can see, both assets run below Q1's lowest wick. However, yet again, if we pay attention specifically to those closures, you can see the asset to the right close below Q1's lowest closure, and the asset to the left failed to close below Q1's lowest closure. And then of course you can see we waited for a simple change in the state of delivery before price began to run away and target that opposing liquidity. So this concept can be pretty tricky to spot, especially if it's new to you. So what I would recommend doing is just removing the wicks from your chart and just backtest a few examples just so you can train your eye to see these things. And what I like to do as well is if I can see there's no visible sequential SMT, for example, I can see both assets have wicked above or below the previous quarter, or both assets fail to wick below or above the previous quarter, that's when I then begin to look at the closures and pay attention to see if we have a divergence between those closures. So now that you know exactly what hidden sequential SMT is, let's go over a few chart examples and show you how you can actually enter a trade after seeing the concept occur within price. As you can see here, we're comparing two assets from the forex triad. We're taking a look at GBP USD and also Euro USD. We are on the 5-minute time frame, which means we're viewing the 90-minute cycles. And what we can go ahead and do is mark out our high from the previous quarter with the wicks, and we can also go ahead and mark out the highest closure of the previous quarter. So that way we can clearly see if price runs above the high, forming a regular sequential SMT, or if it runs above and closes above the highest closure from Q2, forming a hidden sequential SMT. So this is what you can do when you're first starting out, just to train your eye to see these things. And as you can see, we did indeed get price run above the high of Q2 on both assets. So this is then when we're scanning for that hidden sequential SMT, and as you can see, we did indeed get a closure above of this candle and also a clear one off this candle here, okay? So then all we need to do is mark out the candle that first formed that hidden sequential SMT, in this case this up close candle here, and then what we're doing is we're waiting for a closure back down below it to confirm the change in the state of delivery, which you can see we got within this candle here. We can then enter anywhere within this candle, so let's say around here, stops on that turtle soup high, and we can target opposing liquidity right there, or you could have left a runner down to these lows. So let's see how this will go ahead and play out. And as you can see, we hit both targets very, very quickly. Now in this example here, we're comparing two assets from the indices triad. We're taking a look at ES and also NQ. You can see that we are on the hourly time frame, which is for the weekly cycle. So this means we must see the sequential SMT or hidden sequential SMT between 2 consecutive days. So in this case, we've got Thursday already played out, and now we're looking to trade on Friday. So we're looking for that hidden or regular sequential SMT with Thursday's low or high. So what we can do is go ahead and mark out Thursday's lowest low with the wick, and we can either wait for price to run below that, forming a sequential SMT, or we can go ahead and mark out the lowest closure of Thursday on both assets. And keep in mind, the low or the lowest closure doesn't need to form at the exact same time on both assets. The only thing that matters is we're looking at the lowest closure or the highest closure, no matter what asset we're looking at. Okay, so in this case, they did form at the exact same time. So what we need to do now is wait for Friday to either close below or wick below. And there you go. As you can see, we got that closure below on ES, but we didn't get the wick below. And then if we take a look at NQ, you can see we did not get the wick or the closure below. Okay, so now we've got a divergence between the bodies, as you can see right there. So all we need to do from here is wait for a candle closure above the candle that formed the divergence, that formed the manipulation. In this case, it was this one here. You can see the candle there, 7 AM for ES. So we can go ahead and use that same candle for NQ. We wait for a closure above it, and then we wait for price to tap back into the order block. And as you can see, price had done that very nicely, stopped on the low, and we can go ahead and target opposing liquidity. And as you can see, TP smashed again very, very quickly. So definitely go and experiment on the charts for yourself. Go take a look at the reversals. Go and have a look. If you can't see that SMT or sequential SMT, pay attention to the bodies, and more times than not, it will be there if you can't see a divergence between the wicks. And now with all that being said, that is going to conclude this video. I hope that you guys all enjoyed it and took something valuable away from it. I'd appreciate if you could leave a like and a subscription, and also drop comments down below of what other trading videos you would like to see from me. And don't forget to check out my social medias, as well as my premium membership group, and also my very own quarterly theory indicator, all linked below in the description. Take it easy, guys. Goodbye.